Well, hello everyone. Um, we are back with Mark again from Highnote. He has been on a couple times for us now, talking about the benefits of Highnote. And as we all know, with the real estate industry the way it is right now, and this whole buyer agency thing and the NAR settlement, which I know you guys are probably just like pulling your hair out over and struggling, trying to figure out everything. How do we stand out? How do we prove our value? How do we overcome these changes? And, hopefully, nothing really comes of it and it all gets dismissed, but who knows? I don't know. The way things are going, I think it's going to stick around for a while. But in the meantime, we have to figure out how to pivot. We have to figure out how to stand out in our market and how to really prove our value to our clients. So Mark and we talked after the last time he was on talking about Highnote and how we've been using it to dominate listing appointments and, the different ways to use it. And he was like, hey, we should talk about buyer agents and how we can use Highnote and how we can stand out. So I wanted to make sure that we got Mark back on. So Nikki and I would love to welcome Mark again. So Mark, I made you co-host. So if you want to start, I'm going to hand it right over to you and we can rock and roll and get going. We're a little early, which is different, but we got a lot of people here. So let's roll. Oh no, we can't hear you. Can you hear him, Nikki, at all? No. Okay. Not just me.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are.
All right. Good to see everyone. Thanks for having me back. It is a crazy time in real estate. I'm listening in on all the sales meetings and seeing what's going on, keeping track of the contract changes. I'm an agent in California and San Francisco, and I'm part of two different MLSs here. And straddle San Francisco and the peninsula and Silicon Valley. And so it's crazy time. And it's going to probably get a little worse before it gets better because you're going to be needing to put some of the things they're telling you into practice. And we're not going to get it right in the very beginning. And there's going to be a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainty and a lot of doubt. But I think it's just a new reality, right? Once we get a hang of this, it's gonna be sort of like, oh, remember those times when we used to have to, when we used to do that. And so it's gonna be really different coming up, but I think we can all get through it. All right, so what we're gonna talk about is how do you build winning buyer presentations to win every appointment? And one of the things that we realize, and I think some of you people may already realize, and I'm an agent just like you, is that you need to treat the buyer. You're probably gonna need to treat the buyer like you treat a seller. And sellers, you need to pitch, you need to present to, you need to really formalize a relationship. And I think the ongoing wisdom or the prevalent wisdom out there is that, well, you're going to need to do the same, to the buyer, for the buyer. You're going to need to get them to sign something. I mean, that's not even wisdom. That's just the rule. Before showing anything, you're going to need to sign some sort of agreement. So that means really sitting them down, really pitching your value, explaining what a buyer agent does. And we will get to that, and we'll get to that and how to do that. So I am an agent just like you, and I was the #2 condo agent in San Francisco when I was super active, and we grew a brokerage to a top 250 in the United States. And we just did that in just 5 years. And I founded Highnote, and really building on our mission to teach agents how to win. And this is what we did at Climb, my brokerage, how to win. And one of the greatest ways to win is this technique I'm going to teach you. And it's a secret. I'll let you in on it. Is just having a great digital interactive presentation. This wins appointments. And I'm going to show you the exact technique. It's part art, it's part science, and let's get into it. So it's really spending the time to lay your value out in a very professional manner and gorgeous manner by having an absolutely great buyer presentation. And one of the easiest ways, it's not easy, but one of the most straightforward, the simplest ways to win an appointment is to really have a better presentation. And I'm talking about the materials. I'm talking about not just the thing you bring in person, but also the thing that you send ahead of time. And you really should send something ahead of time. And if you're going to send something ahead of time, you might as well make it great, right? Every step of the interaction with your clients and leads needs to be great. Otherwise, you just won't win as much as other agents. And it's as straightforward as that. It's you need your scripts, you need your experience, your expertise, but you also need something that's going to be knock their socks off great. So that's what we built and that's what we taught, and this is what Highnote does. Let's set this up a little bit. You have an appointment, and the way it usually works is the lead finds you. You have an initial email or phone call, and you have an in-person meeting, which is the appointment, and you have a follow-up, and then you close. So what am I talking about? So in the appointment here, but before you have the appointment, you should send something, right? Back in the day, and maybe some people still do this, they'll send something physical. And why wouldn't you, right? You should still send something physical if you want to, but it's really difficult and cumbersome. A digital presentation is easy. Send something digitally. Your agents, I mean, your leads, your buyers and seller leads, over 50% of them, according to a poll by Redfin, expect that their agent is going to be ahead on tech. They want to see that they adopt the latest technology. So sending a great digital presentation ahead of time really positions yourself that way. And then after the appointment, there's follow-up, right? If they don't sign something on the spot and decide to work with you, and they still have to interview other people, that means they haven't decided with you yet. So you need to send something. If you want to win this, right, you should really go the extra mile and send another presentation following up on what you had met about and all of their objections about you or the process or signing with you. And this breaking up this, thinking about it this way, you should break up the sales appointment into thirds. There's a pre-sale, there's the actual appointment, and then there's the back thirds, the follow-up and closing them. So think of it that way. It's structured into thirds. And if you think of it this way, you're going to win many, many, many more appointments like we did and do now. So you're thinking, oh my God, buyer presentations. What do I do? What do I put in there? Well, don't panic. We have you covered. We have great templates already built, and all you need to do is customize them and personalize them. And let's get into them. What do they look like? Now, the great thing about this session is that you don't have to use Highnote, right? You can I'll show you these sections and you can have it yourself, but it looks 100 times better in Highnote. And why do you need to send it in this format instead of a bunch of PDFs and attachments? Well, you're building trust and credibility, right? It's easier to read and easier to show your value. Showing you are tech forward is paramount in today's day and age, and you stand out from the other agents. So many instances of agents saying that their clients were totally wowed because they got this great Highnote presentation, and the other agents didn't send anything close to that level. And so they won on that point alone. And the other reason why you do it this way is when you send something ahead of time, you want to make sure they read it, right? You want to make sure they read it. So our product will give you notifications telling you whether they read it, when they opened it, what pages they've perused, how long they've stayed on it, and what kind of device. So you're able to really reach out and say, hey, I sent you a presentation. You should take a look at it before a meeting. It has some really good information that you should be familiar with before our meeting, etc. And then following up, it gives you another reason to follow up if you see they haven't opened it. So, and when they do read this and when they do take the time, you set up the in-person meeting for success. So you're able to build a connection. You're already laid a foundation. You're ready to talk about some preliminary information, and then you can focus on deeper issues. All right. So let's get into what a buyer presentation should look like. And obviously buyer presentations aren't new, right? They've been around forever, but this is a digital interactive one. And I will go through each of these sections. First off, setting it off on a high note, no pun intended. Congratulations on embarking your journey to owning a home, right? Really setting it up to really congratulating them, telling them this is a great step in your life, and let's get you a home. Then you want to have some credibility, talking about who you are, an introduction and some credibility setting. So hello from you, and we recommend a video.
I'm Chris Lim, and I'm the founder of Highnote Estate. I don't know what my favorite neighborhood is in the video.
If you have a video produced already, great. If you don't have one, you can produce one, or it doesn't have to be so professionally produced. It could just be something you shot in the room or on your phone, whatever it is. The whole point is the other person needs trust. They need to trust who they're working with. They need to like who they're working with. And so including a video along with sort of a bio about you would be a great way to stand out. And a lot of comments that agents make, is when they say that when they show up after their client or lead has read this type of presentation or seen the videos, the buyer or seller says they feel like they know the agent already. So there's familiarity already built. And so when you meet, you're that much closer to building that relationship that you're looking for. Okay, you're an expert real estate advisor, making them feel comfortable that they're hiring someone who's expert in the process and advising them through the process. You want to talk about the team that you have behind you, if you have one, and if you don't, make one up. Your spouse, your assistant, the team at the brokerage. It could be marketing, it could be broker, managing broker, it could be the staff at the office. They're part of your team. And so you really want to showcase that you have a team behind you. If you have cleaners, painters, doesn't matter. Build a group of people around you, because other agents may have a team, and that may be the difference maker for your buyer. Your brokerage, you want to talk about the brokerage. You want to talk about the office. You want to talk about why you chose this brokerage, either locally or nationally. So make sure you include something that shows that you're with a legitimate brokerage. And then you want to kind of explain what the value agents provide. Let's go through some of these sections a little bit. We provide this template already. Included in this buyer presentation template. But I think one of the main issues that make this harder for buyers and buyer agents is that a lot of buyers don't know what a buyer agent actually does. They just think they just set appointments, find a property, and take you on showings. But obviously, there's a lot more to it. Buyers don't buy homes every day, so they're not really clear, or they don't understand all the issues that you're going to run into in buying, and how do you help. So you really want to outline all the things that you do and why they're hiring a buyer agent. I think from a seller point of view, and when you're a listing agent, the seller sort of feels like they need an agent, and to sell the home. And I think it's much more clear what a listing agent may do versus a buyer agent. And mainly because we haven't had to stand up and educate the buyer very often about what a buyer agent actually does. But deep professional knowledge, extensive network, expert negotiation skills, evaluating the sales contracts, saving time, solving problems, trusted advisor, you're a trusted advisor to them, guidance for future transactions, right? This is not just one and done, mitigating risk and constant professional development. We're all professionals that are trained in the process of buying a home. Now, when you show these things, be prepared to talk about each of these items and have a case study. Like, what problems have you solved? How did you get a great deal for your client? How do you mitigate risk? Talk about all of the pitfalls they may encounter. And when you talk about those things, you want to really convey that this could be you. And so you don't want them you want them to feel like that they should not have that issue, whatever it is. And but talking about how you mitigate risk is really great. Extensive network, talking about all the different people that they're going to need throughout this transaction and how you have the connections to them and you have their back. Evaluating the sales contract. I think one good way to demonstrate the pitfalls of a sales contract is to actually go through it with them, show them ahead of time what it is, bring it with you, and then really talking about each of the clauses and showing how you can articulate and protect them, and understand that they need to make choices throughout this journey. And then your professional knowledge, market trends, pricing, local neighborhoods, pros and cons of the neighborhoods, etc. Any questions about this? Okay, if not, I'm going to go forward, keep going. All right. Then you want to talk about let's beginning, right? Let's begin. When we meet, this is the agenda for when we meet. So really be formal about it. Set it up. Introduction, capabilities, what do you do, the market, your housing search, and how we work together. Really high level overview of the whole process, but really try to formalize this. Hey, when we meet, this is what we're going to talk about. And every great meeting starts off like this. You tell them what you're going to talk about, and then at the meeting or presentation, you tell them those things, and then when you're done, you recap all those items that you talked about. So setting up the meeting for success. And obviously this is a big departure from when we used to work with buyers before. Very often when you meet buyers before, it was just start taking them on tours and building trust in that fashion. Occasionally you would meet people. Very often I used to just meet people at the showing, have a phone call, and then, hey, let's go look at this property, and then start building the expertise and trust that way. But now you really need to set it up to meet in person, as discussed before. Now, exclusive buyer representation. So you got to really explain to them why they need an exclusive agent. We all know why they need exclusive agent, but now you need to articulate it. So having this sort of thing ahead of time, really to explain to them why you need one person working for you and not using 3 different agents. And we have a template here that really talks about how it really reiterates the buyer agent value proposition, but you need to explain to them that you have many buyers, that you work with many clients, and you need to figure out who you're going to dedicate your time to. And, you need an exclusive buyer representative for you, because anyone that you don't have an exclusive with, they're not going to give you the service or attention that you deserve when you're buying a home. We've walked in your shoes, talking about that, what the journey is going to be like, and then you've done it thousands of times, hundreds of times. And this is a slide or a file that talks about the process and making them feel comfortable that, okay, this person is very experienced. I trust this person. But you want to reiterate this. We want to really articulate it. Then the housing search, right? Talking about the process, the why you need to get a pre-approval. Obviously, a lot of buyers, maybe they don't know that. And then their home search, and then the support that you're going to give them throughout. If you have other services, like you have an access to off-market properties, there's a network in your area about that, then talk about that. And because you want to really show all the different advantages you provide. Home preferences, showing that, hey, we're going to talk about what types of homes you're going to be looking for, and make sure you understand for us in our area, it was critical to really understand the off-market inventory, because if you're searching for a home and you already started looking, you know everything that's on the market. So providing things that they don't know that's either coming, or what something sold for or is in contract for, the backstory behind some of these properties. And then, anything that they may not glean from searching on the MLS or Zillow is the type of stuff you need to really tell them, to show that, oh, I didn't know any of that information. So let me maybe this person is right for me. Maybe I want to work with this agent. The more off-market stuff you can share in our area, the better, was the way we looked at it. Then the real estate market overview. Really have your understanding of what the real estate market is doing, what people are talking about in the news. Now the big news is obviously interest rates. 100% chance that they're going to be dropping interest rates soon. So that's a great thing for mortgages and your purchasing power. So really talking about that, talking about the lack of inventory throughout the country and then maybe in your area and why that is. And then talking about seasonal trends. In San Francisco and the Bay Area, there's a seasonal trend. And I think this applies a lot of places to August, July, June, slower months because of vacation time, etc. And so the market really hot in the spring and the fall for us, and then really dead in right after Thanksgiving and the Christmas season. So really talking about those things and explaining that there's seasonality. And then the next section is actually buying the home. Having a process document, having an overview of what happens, and this is something we provide as well, finding your new home, 1, 2, 3, all the steps, the escrow, closing process, moving in. And these are things that really help people understand what the buying process is like. And then all the steps, how you're going to help them through each of these steps, is going to be critical for why they choose you. And the clear mind is someone that can decide. That if the mind is clear, it can decide. If it's confused, it won't be able to decide. So make sure you provide things that make the process clear for them so that they can make the right decision. The pre-approval, right? Explaining pre-approval, explaining how explaining the difference between that and pre-qual. When in our area, we would get lenders who not only would just do a pre-approval, they would have a decision already for the home so that they're ready to go. And so they get it all the way up to underwriting so that they're ready to go, and they're not just pre-approved based on income, but also on the property as well. Making an offer, explaining the offer process, and you want to go into more detail. And the reason is they need to understand all of the intricacies of each of these steps. So, understanding the offer process, how long the home's been on the market, if the price has been reduced, how much that home is probably worth, and making sure that the buyer doesn't overpay, or if they want to overpay from the past comps or current comps because the market's rising, understanding what the value is of that home. Multiple offers, if there are multiple offers coming, making sure that the right items are for sale, why the seller's selling, etc. And you want to explain perhaps how you make the offer stand out. A lot of agents use Highnote to send offers because it makes their offer look better, explaining the pros and cons of having a buyer letter, explaining the pros and cons of having an agent letter. Some agents will send a video of, back in the day, it used to be okay to send a buyer video, but now agents will send their own video in explaining and really being sincere, really throwing trust at the process with the listing agent, saying, hey, if you work with me, I'm going to ensure a smooth close and transaction. Home inspections and other contingencies, really talking about the home inspection process and all of the issues that they're going to face, they may face during a home inspection, but also helping them find the trusted inspectors. And if you have other types of inspectors besides a general property inspector, such as mold, we would have foundation inspectors, other types of inspectors. Mold was a big one in our area and is. So we have a list of mold inspectors that we have there in your area. It could be radon, it could be pest. We also have pest inspectors, a lot of pests, a lot of termite issues. So having those people at the beck and call and ready to come whenever a buyer will need it. It's the largest transaction of their life, understanding that the quality of the home is obviously going to be crucial. And then close, explaining the process, explaining what happens during the close, explaining all the things that they're going to need to go through the closing of their home, then the home warranty, if you offer one, or at least recommending they should get one, and then explaining why they may need to get one during this time. Okay, now you talked about the process, you gave an intro of yourself. Now you say, okay, this is how we work together. First of all, let's understand the NAR lawsuit. You've heard about it, tons of news about it. What's it about? What are the key terms of the settlement? And really not trying to be biased about the judgment, because a lot of agents are obviously unhappy about this. So don't really be unhappy, because the whole world seems to be against the agent, and we charge too much. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding out there saying, that this is really not about cutting our commission. It's really about splitting how people are paid, how agents are paid, and to make it not look like the listing side is paying the buyer side. And that's what the DOJ is really, really, not happy with. And they wanted to make it clear that the buyer should pay their buyer agent, the seller should pay a listing agent. That doesn't mean that the listing agent or the seller side can't incentivize the buyer side by still paying a commission or incentives or concessions. In the Bay Area, we're calling them concessions. So to the buyer, that doesn't mean that they still should not be paid that way, but they just want to make it clear and not couple the commission together, especially through the MLS. That was the biggest ruling. They don't want the commissions in the MLS because it looks like that we are together and there's like a little monopoly going on. What does the proposed settlement mean for the buyers and sellers? So changes for buyers, changes for sellers. And then, how will commission payments change? Will the buyer agent go away, etc.? So really having something that outlines this, and we include this in our template, understanding how agents are compensated. Now, in the past, the buyer agent was in most cases paid through sharing the commission the listing agent negotiated with the seller. That's now changing, and it's different in every market. So you make sure that you explain how it's going to happen in your market. Some places, the buyer agent is going to really negotiate directly. Some places, the business is not going to change much, but you need to really explain to the buyer that, hey, I need to get paid, right? We don't work for free, and we're going to need to, get paid, and this is how I get paid in the market. In we anticipate in our area that there's going to be an increase of sellers that are not willing to pay the buyer agent straight off the bat. But it's obviously, to the seller, it's net, right? It's a net. It's going to depend. So it's going to depend on the strength of the offer, et cetera, whether they pay. So just, a lot of these listing agents will probably say, just make it part of your offer, because it's going to be hard in the very beginning for buyer agents to convince buyers to pay out of pocket. So what we think is going to happen is that they're going to be, in those cases where listing agents and sellers won't agree to cooperate. Well, we can't even use the word cooperate anymore. To pay a buyer agent, then you're going to need to write it into your offer. And I think we're going to think that's going to be the majority of those cases. We think overwhelmingly the seller and the listing agent will be paying the buyer agent. However, in those cases where it doesn't happen, you're going to need to write it in your offer. And then understanding buyer representation. So include the latest buyer representation agreement in here. Really have we call them the assumptive close, that you're assuming that you're going to be working with the buyer. And so sending the contract ahead of time and explaining this is going to be critical. And we're not going to get this right on the first time, right? But I think it's going to be really imperative to have this clearly laid out in this presentation, not only for yourself, but for your buyer. Well, not even for your buyer, but for yourself, really. So you understand how to pitch your value and how to pitch your services. And then you want to make them trust who they're working with, your commitment. You want to maybe include testimonials in here, and then who you are, and then your brokerage again. So this is a great way to win appointments, and sending this ahead of time before meeting. And of course, you could also do this for listing appointments. And this is a great way to win listings as well. Really being professional and being clear who they're hiring. And I wanted to take a second here to talk about this PowerPoint. Are there any sections in here, any questions, any sections in here that you would change or add to based on your market in your area? What do you think makes sense? What do you think doesn't? Is there anyone that's built a buyer presentation or already talked about it with maybe their sales team or their manager, and they have other suggestions? I would love to hear and open this up for maybe some discussion or questions about this. What do you guys think of this buyer presentation and sending it ahead of time? Do you think it would make a difference in your appointments?
Oh my gosh, 100%. Like if you look at this, like going through, especially like understanding the NAR settlement and all that, you're giving them this information up front, and then they can come back to you and ask all their questions, and, breaking this all down in segments. That's, we've talked about Highnote a million times on here, but that's what I love about this, is it breaks it down in chunks, where if you were to send this in an email, it would not convey the same. It absolutely would not look the same.
Right. It would be overwhelming to them. That's the
For
biggest.
sure.
Yeah. And then anything else? Anyone else?
No, so this is much more thorough than what I'm using. And I just opened my Highnote to, see that this template is available. However, the assets, is there any availability to any of the assets that are like universal? Like maybe not state specific, but some of the things I'm like, oh, I guess, I could have my VA just redo them, but was there a way as a subscriber I could have access to
Yeah, absolutely. So these things are these are templates, right? So if you're used to building these high notes out, this thing could be sent to you. It's actually in a new template section inside of Highnote.
Yeah, I saw it, but the assets aren't attached, right?
They're all included. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
They're all
must have
included.
looked at it
Absolutely.
incorrectly. It just looked to me like the files weren't, like the sections were there, but then you have to attach either a PDF or a link.
Yeah. I mean, these are included. I mean, some of these things are obviously, like, for example, the buyer
State
rep agreement.
specific. Yeah,
Yes,
we would use a
specific.
different document there, but
Exactly. Yeah, and then so you have access to these. you know, we also have a team that can help put these together for people for an extra fee. But if you already have a VA, you know, have them do it. But if not, you know, reach out to us. We have an extra fee to customize these for you. And then we teach you how to edit them and how to model, make quick changes. But this is a lot. This is a lot.
It's
for
overwhelming for someone starting, but the template's there.
Absolutely.
Like, the template's there.
And
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was gonna ask Brian's question. He said, I like my current presentation. Is there any way to use it as a template? Brian, if you want to come off mute for a second, I'm assuming your buyer presentation is like a guide, or how are you doing it now?
Yeah, so mine, is the typical hard copy. I can print it out into a booklet form at FedEx or whatever, take it with me. I like a lot of the content I have in there, a lot of the, in the assets, if you will. So just curious if we can kind of incorporate some of that stuff into a ready to build template.
absolutely. So that our team, I mean, you could chop that up and then separate it out like this if you'd like. Some people do that. And we have our team that can help you do that. Or you can just include the whole thing in there, right? And you can include the whole thing. How long is it, Brian?
Probably when I print it out, I want to say it's like 24 pages.
Yeah. So some people just put the whole thing in there, but then they build around it. Then they call out other sections that you want them to specifically hone on. So a lot of people do it that way. You don't need to split up the 24 pages into like, hey, this is one page for my office. This is one page for this, and then, flatten it out and make it long like this. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You can include it and then include it as a 24-page thing in, let's say, one file, and then build around it and supplement it. Yeah. And so that's what a lot of people do.
Obviously I like it because it's all branded and that type of thing. So yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, what you could do, Brian, so the left side of the screen are images.
Yeah.
So you can literally go into your buyer presentation. I mean, you might have to reformat it to make it look right in this size, but
Yeah.
you could literally take your screenshots of your buyer guide and upload them into the image, like on the side, and then put your information over to the right-hand side. So it might be a little repetitive, but like, as you can see, some of these are images, some of these are like info docs or like infographics. So you could do something similar to that. You would just have to reformat it.
Yeah, because obviously, I'm touching on most of this already in my current one. So instead of reinventing the wheel and the branding and everything, I was just curious if that was easy enough to do. It sounds like it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, and the best thing about it too is, I don't think you touched on this, Mark, but these are like, you can duplicate all of these. So if you want to specify like, buyer presentation or, buyer strategy session for John Smith, and then the next week you meet with somebody else, you can easily duplicate and redo them over and over and over again. So you don't have to continuously redo these each time over and over, which
Right.
I use these for every one of my clients once they're under contract. I've done it for listing presentations. I've done it for, pre-listing appointments when I'm trying to win that appointment. I've done all kinds of stuff where I think I talked about this on the last Modern Agent Blueprint that we had Mark on. I was up against multiple agents. And so I went over to the house, and he was a landlord. So he had not seen the property in a while. So I went over there, took photos of all the issues of the house, put them all into the Highnote, and said, here are the concerns that I have about, before we list. Here's a list of contractors. Well, I said, I have a list of contractors. I don't want to give all that out unless they hire me. But I had all of that in there, and it really set me apart from all the other agents.
Right. And that's what it's all about. Being a great agent, that's what it's about. It's taking that extra step to show value, right? To provide that value. And that's fantastic that you did that.
Mark, I've got a quick question there to kind of follow up on what Nicole said. That's a great idea, right? To say, here's my presentation, but some of the things maybe are locked until like, hey, look, I've got almost like a tease. Here's my vendors. Here's my preferred this. Here's some things that I would love to talk about. But to Nicole's point, nothing worse than going on a listing presentation, telling them what you think the house is worth and why you can market it best, just to have them go use your information somewhere else. So is there a way to kind of lock some of that as a tease? Yeah,
let me think about that. So, that's why that's what this pre-buyer pre-meeting thing is like. You don't give them the resources ahead of time, right? You sort of say, you know, I guess the way we do that is like, hey, I have a list of contractors and resources, right? And then just have an image on the left side, right? And I have everyone from lender to title to lawyer to interior designer to painter, store, you know, and then you don't give it, right? And so you really, then you talk about it in person, and then if they work with you, you can unhide. You could probably unhide a section, and that would work best for you. So for example, you know, like here's a demo of an actual Highnote and the way this kind of works. And you know, you can duplicate these, you can make copies of these. So let's just make another one. I'll make a copy here and then duplicate this right now so that we can see. And then as it's making a copy, you know, you can easily change these for whatever purpose you want, and you could change the images so that it's you know, I could pick one of these great images in here to make it look great. And then what you can do is like these things, you can hide them right here very easily, hide, right? And then you can unhide things. So you can have one big one built and then have like a case for each client basically, and then unhide and hide things as you see fit. But you see how this has changed already, and we're just going to call it modern agent buyer presentation, and you know, and then tweak them. You know, you could go.
Nope, that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was wondering if we do. So you just make a
Yeah.
copy of it. One's the pre-presentation, one's the, hey, now that you're fully signed, let me send you a new one with all this cool information. Love it.
Absolutely. And you know, it's you may think, wow, this is a lot of work, it's overkill, but you know, your income depends on this, right? It really does. And you can really do a we call them a half-ass job, or you can really go for it and win the buyer, win the seller. And this is what they want. They want service. So really presenting it in a way, and then it just got to make it work for you, right? So that you can easily do these every single time. Some people may just have one generic one they send, and that's it. Some people will have clients for each, you know, different high notes for different clients, and use them for transaction types of documents. Like, hey, we're in contract. Here's what the next step is, and then maybe afterwards, hey, you know, we're about to close. This is what we got to do next, and then a closing one afterwards. It really, really makes a big difference in your day-to-day. So, you know, these sections, back to this modern agent buyer presentation, you know, you could move, just drag and drop, move things around, include new things. So let's just say we wanted to upload something else. Very simple. Just adding an asset, and of course, demoing live doesn't always seem to work well. Internet problems, but adding an asset here. And then, you know, you pick a file, you can upload, you can insert from your drive or etc. And let's say I want to insert this form. Very easy. We have AI that helps summarize the document also, so you don't have to type as much on the right side. And if you're coming up, and so this is the AI. This was a you know, this is a, what is this document I uploaded? This is a, you know, I don't even know what this document is, but needed the AI. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it's magic. It summarizes it all and includes a description on the right side. And, you know, it's just fantastic. So this is, let's just say, buyer broker agreement. And, you know, you could type whatever text you want and then enhance it with AI, and it will do a great job in doing that. And then let's see. So then you could add dividers. We have a text form here, and you could add just text boxes.
Is that new, Mark? The divider
new.
in this text? Is that
Yeah,
new?
you can insert a big.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, you can section things off. That's
Yeah,
really
you can section things off.
Yeah.
Now, which was great. And then, you know, you could always add different sections to separate things, contact forms, links to things. And, you know, really, really fantastic way to really showcase, you know, your services and value. And take the time, you know, you need to build this out, and really start sending these things to win these clients, right? It's very difficult, I agree, but we make it easy because we have these templates available for you. And you know, if you're starting from scratch and how you access these templates, we now have you know, templates all available in here for whatever purpose you need. And so you know, if you search, you could find these things. You know, we have this new one here, digital buyer presentation and agreement, and all these different things. Now, you know, despite how easy we've made the tool, it's still a lot of work. And so we have a service like I described before that'll help you set it up. All right. How much time do we have? We don't have a lot of time. We went right.
Right. So
Okay.
Nicole's electricity keeps going out. So she just wanted me to tell you guys that
Oh,
that she
okay.
keeps getting kicked out.
Okay.
So we have it's 11:48 right now.
Okay, so about 5-10 minutes, something like that, right? So okay. Now, another way to close these buyers is sending a follow-up buyer presentation, right? So like after, if they're on the fence, really sending another thing to close them. And this is what you would put in those, like meeting summary, the financing options, market insights, maybe some properties to consider, viewing our next steps, viewing and touring properties, making an offer, home inspections, closing, etc., buyer resources again, and let's get started. Your testimonials, etc., or whatever other issues that they've had or concerns. This is where you answer their objections in here, and you know it goes a long way to winning deals, and this is a guaranteed way to win. So you know, Highnote, what we've done is it's a next generation sales presentation platform. It's digital, it's interactive, it's AI, and the users are just loving it. And I might skip over some of the salesy stuff, but you know, bottom line is, you know, Highnote wins deals, and it just allows you to collect everything you need to present and share with your buyer or your seller. And we also tell you and show you what is being read. And what I'm going to do is demonstrate the analytics here. And is that a good idea? Should we demonstrate the analytics, you think, right now? Yeah.
I love to know what they looked at and how long they looked at it,
Right. So let's
if they
do
even
that.
opened it. And then you can give them a nudge.
Absolutely. So you know, let me share this one with you. And this is a modern agent group. And then I'm going to require an email to view. And so here we go. Let me send this out to the group here in the chat. And so go check out this. Oops, I just sent it only to Dan. Let me send it to everyone in the meeting. So click on that link. It's a sample luxury buyer presentation. And you know, it's something we just messed around with. I don't know if this is an actual one, but let me see. Yeah, it's something that you know, we use for luxury buyers. But take a look at it and click through it a little bit and see some of these sections. I'm going to demonstrate the notifications and analytics. And so Julie has entered her information and she's clicked on two things. Total house inspection at Gmail has opened this one time. And then Liz at agentnw.com has checked it out. You haven't clicked on any of the assets yet. Let's see here. G Garduno. So if you see my screen here, you could see all the things that I could see. Julie looked at 3 different things in here. And then, you know, luxury total house inspection, checked out 2 items in here. So this is like exactly how you use this information to understand what's being read and when, and then following up with the right information. We know, I see that everyone, you know, G Garduno is on using a phone to access this, and a Safari browser. This is an iPhone, and everyone else is using it. Well, Liz, an agent, and you're using reading it from your iPhone too. So then I know kind of what's been going on, how you're reading it, how you're accessing it, and how long you've been and then when I could follow up at the right time. I could also see if you haven't been accessing it. So really powerful way to win deals. Let's go through more. And this was just reiterating what was said earlier. It's the smartest way to deliver a presentation. It's very easy for the recipient to peruse and understand. So you're breaking things up into chunks, you're pulling things out. You could do the same presentation in a PDF and it would be 65 pages. But with a Highnote, it doesn't strike the recipient as overwhelming. And you want them to read it. You want them to understand you. You want them to understand the value. So this was an actual testimonial from this agent who's used it incessantly. Drag and drop, I showed you that already. Easy to just modify on the fly. If you need to add or change sections to live presentation, so I can make changes on the fly, especially if you made an error or you decided you forgot one section and needed to or remove something. And you could duplicate, personalize, and deliver these things. Your buyer or listing presentation will stand out and win. I talked about the notifications and analytics on how you use this next generation technology to understand the mind of the reader. If you send it with email, you have no idea what they looked at. You have no idea if they've even read it or how long. So using Highnote Send is just so much better, and it lets you be the proverbial fly on the wall. And of course, we have AI, and we're always finding new ways to add AI and integrate into Highnote. Our mission is to make these auto building. You enter the name of the person and you explain who they are. They looks it up and sends it and creates the best presentation that's going to tailor and win that. And that's our vision. That's where we're headed. And then, of course, we have a listing presentation system as well with pre-listing and follow-up listing templates, why you need to send this and how it worked, and the proof that we've done it. $3 billion worth of time. And tons of testimonials about what it does. And this agent really, I love what she said. She says Highnote creates an impression for you that you're tech savvy, and that's so important for these sellers and buyers to understand that you're on top of tech, because most agents are not. And then I give you the demo already. This is the pricing for it, and $35 a month, $29 if you pay annually. And we are raising prices shortly, and I'm being serious. I'm not just saying that. It was the team wanted to roll out this week. We're giving it one more week, but it's going to be raised to $39 a month and $400 a year, basically $399 a year, because of the demand for the product, and it allows us to build more features and functionality. Again, we have done for you, so it's an add-on service. We provide these templates for you, and we could also build each one. It's $349 to customize and build one for you. And we just meet with you, get your information, get your documents, and we'll build them for you. White glove service. And then we have an onboarding session with you to teach you how to modify and send. And just $349 if for one. If you buy multiple, which a lot of people have, they'll buy one buyer presentation, then they're like, I need a follow-up one. Or then, I need a listing presentation done as well. It gets cheaper and less expensive per template. And then we also have the winning listing presentation service that we'll build them for you as well. And then, so they're done for you. So this is the pricing. There's a basic level, $349. And then if you buy two, it's less per unit, per template, $599. And some people buy four. They'll buy four and buy the whole package. So reach out to us, let us know. And then also we guarantee that these will work. If you use these presentations and use Highnote as we describe you to use it, sending one before and then one after, and if it doesn't help you win more, we'll refund your money. That's how powerful and how strongly we believe in the service. And very few people take us up on this. So but there's no, there's no lose in this situation, and we're going to help you win more commissions and more business guaranteed. All right. And then we also have this guide. Scan this if you're interested. It's a free guide on how to win, on building winning buyer presentations. It encapsulates a lot of the items that we have talked about in here in a handy guide. So enter your email and then you'll get this information for free. And I'll leave this up for a little bit, and I'll pause here and then just leave it open for questions.
Awesome. Thank you. This
You're
is
welcome.
so informative.
Yeah, there's a question from Liz about the templates, asking if they're branded. I think I know the answer to this, but I'll let you answer. She said that she saw her brokerage as one of the templates, but are the templates branded?
Absolutely. And the way we've made this is, let me see here. Let me show you. Yeah, I mean, they are. I mean, there's not a lot of branding that needs to be done on these templates because you upload the information. So, you could choose the images, you could choose the logo. So let's just say I want to do, real estate. And, it's very easy to just, let me try to find something here. So for example, if I want to see the real one, right? So the only branding that really is the logo up top, the image you choose, and the colors. So it's very simple to have a template like this, and it's really branded to for example, this one's branded to real, right? So it's very simple to do that. And we have templates, and we can help you even make it more customized to whatever brand you're with. What brand was it? Are you? I don't know if she can say.
She
Okay.
said ROG.
ROG.
Are what? Oh, Realty One Group.
Probably.
Yeah, we have Realty One Group in here, and we have a special, and the Realty One Group we actually have a partnership with. So reach out to us about that, and tell you about the benefits of that partnership. But these are all templates, and we have a second version of this listing presentation as well, and then 2 buyer presentations. Okay. Anything else that I can help with or answer?
I don't think so.
Great.
Somebody said, love to know the benefits of partnership if you have one with EXP.
Yeah, that's coming. Not official right now. Right now, what we do have is a lot of EXP users and a lot of templates. So we have a resources section, and built with Highnote, so you can see a lot of EXP agents that use it. We have the #1 team in the country, in the world, Kyle Whistle Group, who's a huge promoter and user, as well as the #2 team, Kenny Trong, Fast Agent, who's not only a user but an investor as well. And so he truly believes in it, obviously. And we have a ton of EXP agents and a lot of examples of people really just standing out and winning with Highnote. And this is in our built with Highnote section. So cool. Any other questions?
I don't see any.
Great.
Nicole just provided, I guess, what is probably an affiliate link, right? So if someone
It's my
Yes.
affiliate link for
Yeah.
Highnote. So if anyone has want to check things out, you want to get pricing and all that stuff, you can use my link there, and that'll take you right to Highnote.
And a kindergartner could use it, guys. I'll just tell you right now. I'm not tech savvy, so don't be afraid of this. This is probably the easiest thing you could ever do. You don't even need instructions. I mean, it's just
it's really simple. I mean, even the one that I created for like my clients who are under contract on their homes or whatever, if they're a buyer or a seller, I just went into Canva and created the same exact image over and over. Mine is very simple. Like, it is not as beautiful as Mark's, but mine, it's just very simple. I made a little Canva template, and it says like, contract, inspection, EMD, like it just breaks down each thing and it's aesthetically pleasing. It looks nice, it's pretty, and it is very simple. So makes things really, really easy. And my clients love it. Every time I send this to them, they're like, oh my gosh, that's such a cool little website you sent us. I love it. So I think it's a really amazing tool to have, and it's not terribly expensive. I mean, it's for a whole year, it's not bad, and you can make
350,
as many
350
templates
and
as you want.
400. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and again, you're going to win deals with this. So just imagine what your average commission is and how that's going to change your income. So if you're going to win something with Highnote, and you're paying $400 for it, you could pay much more, honestly. So a lot of people tell us that you should raise the prices because the agents are winning so many deals with it, right? So yeah, but thanks a lot for that shout out. And if there are no more questions, reach out to us anytime. You have our information. Mine is just mark@highnote.io. We have a sales staff and dedicated support team as well. And, we look forward to seeing you on the other side.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Thank
We appreciate
you.
having you on. Everyone have
Thank
an
you.
awesome day.
Thank you.
Stay dry.
Bye.